and a father. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know how you did it, Pops. My job was a little less stressful than yours. Oh yeah, I finally got a job. I'm the king of Atlantis. 500 million people from every known species in the sea call this place home. But that doesn't mean they all like me.
I'm gonna kill Aquaman and destroy everything he holds dear. I'm gonna murder his family and burn his kingdom to ash.
He must be stopped, or a global meltdown is imminent.
I think I know someone who might be able to help us. Ooh, you look rough. Good job, little brother. High five.
Do not call me brother. I cannot believe you let this happen.
Yeah, well, I hate this job.
True king builds bridges, right?
True king builds bridges.
We need to find Manta.
He's different now. He's stronger than before.
It's the Black Trident. During King Atlan's time, there were 7 kingdoms. And the Trident was a curse upon them all.
The Trident's dark magic is spreading.
He means to end the bloodline.
I don't know what lies ahead, but we can't leave our children in a world without hope.
You're not as bad at this as you think. If you lead, the 7 kingdoms will follow.
The innovator in you with Dell. Cellular World is an authorized partner for Dell Technologies. Whether you're looking for equipment for personal use or to transform your business, Dell Technologies can provide you with the right equipment to suit your needs. Dell is more than just desktop computers and laptops. The full line also includes monitors, data storage solutions, keyboards, docking stations, and other accessories. This is technology that makes it possible and provides solutions for every situation. Shop for your Dell products at Cellular World, your #1 Dell authorized partner in Belize, and get all the technology you want for less. Bring your brightest ideas to life with intelligent technology. Cellular World, authorized Dell partner.
Yes, I give her 50 times ending, now me have to pay.
Where they going, bruh? The who they stress you out again, Namule?
Boy, I don't believe I the fool again.
Again?
But I mess up this time for real, for real. Wanna really want to know?
Yes. I want yeah.
Can't make it a big deal.
We know what that.
I know how you going now.
Oh, man.
You really want to know?
Yeah?
Take my plan, and I give her. I take my plan and put it in a name.
Wait, so tell me something. You still pay for this plan?
Yeah. But hear this. This plan, I can't left this plan. Smart Belize. This plan, I can't left this plan, yeah. This plan, I can't left this plan. Postpaid plan. This plan, I can't left this plan. With Smart Belize, it's unlimited data. Smart choice plan can light up your day. Postpaid with eSIM, make everything better. Just visit Smart showrooms today. I can't left this plan. I can't left this plan. Can't left this plan. I can't left this plan. Affordable for everyone. I can't left this plan. The postpaid plan, cause the data really strong.
You know why? Listen, for the best post and prepaid. You know that smart got you back. My bad. Rock on Russia.
See, you could left me for another man. The truth, once I have my plan, once I have my Smart Plus plan, I no worry cause the data strong. I know when you bleed, cause that's all I need. And you could tell me where you are, but I never left this plan. Smart could talk and text unlimited. Come set up your group. We got share plan 1 and 2. Up to 10 friends can connect anywhere. Boom! I can't left this plan. I can't left this plan. The postpaid plan, cause the data really strong. Don't dig it down, 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 don't dig it. Smart, bringing people together.
We are now walking the streets and visiting your homes. We are glad to hear that you're happy with the development of our beautiful town. Our motto, moving forward, one town, one vision, is a pledge to continue developing and beautifying our Ridgewalk town. On March 6th, stay on track and vote Logic Shepherd for mayor and your 6 PUP councillors.
PUP!
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Police in Orange Walk managed to capture a prisoner who escaped from custody yesterday morning at around 6. Jonathan Felipe Aruana Lima, of Brazilian nationality, was rearrested this morning in the area of the Northern Regional Hospital. Police were on mobile patrol when they observed a male individual acting suspiciously. The person was stopped, and when interrogated in English, he was unable to respond. This raised more suspicion, and when officers made checks, they discovered the individual was Lima. As previously mentioned, Lima was detained earlier this week for immigration offenses, and now he is expected to be additionally charged for escape. He was expected to be charged and taken to court. However, at around 6 a.m. yesterday, he managed to abscond from custody through the fence of the station located near the restroom area. Once outside of the compound, he is suspected to have jumped the fence of a business establishment adjacent to the station. He is then believed to have run towards the river, and that is where cops lost his trace. A group of parents from the village of Copperbank in the Corozal district remain up in arms tonight. They have several concerns which they say are yet to be addressed by the administration of the Copperbank RC school where their children are enrolled. In the hope of being heard, the parents staged an impromptu protest yesterday in front of the school. They demand a facelift for the bathroom facility as it is currently in a terrible state, according to them. They also want to know what happened to the $10,000 that was raised to upgrade the bathroom. And thirdly, parents claim that the roof of the school building now serves as a house for rat bats, and the scent that it is producing has become unbearable for students. One of the concerned parents provided us with an extensive interview yesterday. First, we bring you the portion where she alleges that her son is being bullied by his teachers based on a comment she made.
El problema viene de con la maestra Juanita Tzul, que pues ella está grabando cosas personales con los niños, especialmente hizo esto con mi hijo. Ahora poco hizo llorar 2 veces a mi hijo acá en la escuela. Le negaron el papel, el consent letter para mi hijo que yo le firme para que vaya para un friendly marathon. Ella se lo negó y yo fui con el coach de los boys, que es el maestro Fidel Santoya. Él lo que me dijo en estas palabras, esto es lo que él me dijo, porque somos primos, lo que él me dijo fue así: pues primita, yo tengo que hacer lo que ellas me digan. En cortas palabras, él me quiso dar de entender que él tiene que hacer lo que la maestra Juanita Tzul y Celsi Tzul tienen, pues que lo que ellos digan es lo que él va a hacer. Entonces yo le dije, ¿cómo va a ser esto? Si tú eres el coach, ¿cómo tú vas a hacer eso? Yo no puedo hacer nada. Él acaba de entrar, pues él tiene que hacer lo que ellas quieren. Y yo pienso que sí sé que eso lo agarraron contra de mi hijo, porque fue por un comment que yo hice en una junta de la escuela que yo hice. Lo agarraron contra mi hijo y el 15 de este mes hubo un maratón aquí en la escuela, el cual mi hijo fue a la escuela. Mi hijo está haciendo practice. Cuando él fue, lo sacaron del field y le dijeron que él no es del team, él no es parte del team. Yo me pregunto si el año pasado él participó en esto. Y este año están metiendo a otros niños que acaban de entrar en Standard 2, hasta incluso estaban buscando otros niños de Standard 1. ¿Cómo va a ser eso?
And now to the issue of rat bats living in the roof of the school building. Victoria Tech says the scent of rat bat feces and urine is already affecting students' health-wise, and so is the condition of the bathroom.
Esa escuela es casa de murciélago, es casa de murciélago. Si ustedes fueran en la tarde, iban a ver cómo salen esos animales de ahí. Se optó para hacer la maestra lo hizo antes de que el COVID entrara. Ellas se juntaron, se hizo diferentes grupos, se hizo varios grupos de 10 para que cada grupo entregara $1,000. Pero en ese entonces vino del COVID, no es PTA, son los grupos que se formaron para cada grupo de los parents, se hizo un grupo, cada grupo iba a dar $1,000 en ventas. Tenemos que hacer ventas, hacer algo, recaudar fondos, y cuando un grupo termine el otro. La cosa es que solo tres grupos me parece que se hicieron esto, pero cuando vino lo del COVID ya no se siguió haciendo nada más, entonces se quedó así. Y esto ahorita que vino, había problemas ahorita de un baño, pues del baño que está en pésimas condiciones, mujeres se unieron para a ver que se haga algo para hacer otro baño, porque el baño está terrible. ¿Qué dijo la maestra en una junta cuando esa mamá lo dijo? La maestra la tiró, yo lo vi así de mi manera de ser, como que tiró, como que lo que ella está diciendo que ella solo está perdiendo su tiempo, pero la mamá estaba molesta porque ella tiene niña ahí en la escuela. Entonces, este grupo se formaron y vinieron aquí en mi casa, vinieron para pedir ayuda, para recoger grava en el camino, para que se haga, porque acá en el camino están haciendo el camino, hay bastante grava, pues entonces la compañía de acá, de RGB, ellos dieron su ayuda también para que se pueda hacer esto del baño. Fue ese del problema que hicieron. La maestra no dijo que si se va a hacer un PTA, la maestra dijo que no está permitido hacer PTA, y otros parents dicen, ¿cómo no hay PTA? Si en otras clases, otras escuelas hay PTA, y según acá no se puede hacer porque están pensando de esto del techo de la escuela, todo en las orillas están cayendo de murciélagos. Está terrible. La maestra lo único que hicieron es que comenzaron a quitar los celotex que ya estaban bien mojados de orina, del sucio del rat bat. Entonces se quitó, pero no se pudo sellar todo. Y siempre sigue las cosas. Los niños están enfermos. Tengo entendido que hay una muchacha que su hija sufre asma. Ella dice que su hija se enfermó, tiene asma. Solo lo llevan en la escuela y la niña lo tienen que regresar a su casa porque la niña se le retienta otra vez. Ese es un problema y no creo que es justo.
With a report lodged at the St. Francis Xavier Parish in Corozal Town, a priest, according to Tech, made a trip to the village 1 month ago to meet with the parents. Results of that visit, however, are yet to be seen.
El padre nos dijo en esa junta que la católica, la iglesia, en la junta que se hizo, ya tiene un mes ahorita que se hizo la junta, que de cuando él vino para ver porque había el problema sobre de esto del baño. El padre vino con otra señora también, Miss Lorena, su apellido no sé quién es, vinieron para ver de la escuela. Y fue ahí cuando un parent le dijo al padre que por qué está el condición del techo, por qué no se hace algo. ¿Qué dijo él? Que la católica es una iglesia pobre y que ellos no pueden hacer nada con él. Entonces esta persona le sugirió, ¿por qué no se va para pues que el government se haga cargo de él? Porque nosotros pues estamos ahí, mandamos a nuestros niños porque necesitan educación, porque es derecho de ellos tener educación. Pues el padre, eso fue lo que él dijo. Hay bastantes parents que dijeron, si se hace una carta, vamos a poner firma y vamos a llevarlo. De hecho, le dijimos al padre, el padre dijo que él no puede hacer nada para nosotros. Así lo que él nos dijo a nosotros el lunes, porque el lunes él vino. El padre vino de Corozal, vino aquí y vino con Miss Lorena y le dijimos, le sugerimos que haga un cambio. Él dijo que no se puede, él no puede hacer nada, que nos ayude con la escuela. Eso de que toman las cosas personales con los niños, eso fue lo que él nos dijo, que no pueden hacer nada por nosotros. Entonces, ¿a quién vamos a recurrir? ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Y otra cosa, si decimos algo, lo van a agarrar contra nuestros hijos.
The next step is to write a letter that will be signed by all parents concerned. This will be delivered to the Ministry of Education. On our part, we visited the parish in Corozal to get an interview with the assistant local manager of the Corozal Roman Catholic schools to hear their side of the story. However, we were told the individual was not in office and would return for the day. When we pressed for a date in order to speak to her, we were told there is no timeline as to when she would return to office. We note that when we visited the Copperbank RC Primary School, the principal declined comment on their instructions. She was told the issue would not be ventilated over the media. Belize can reduce government debt by some 50% of GDP. For that to happen, the GOB must engage reforms in various areas as per the World Bank's public expenditure review, an activity that happened today. According to the World Bank, the jewel must respond immediately to external shocks, improve value for money in key social and investment programs, and manage growth in public sector wages, an issue that has been hovering in the news for years. Today, the press was able to speak to several persons who gave an update on how Belize has been performing economic-wise.
Belize is particularly vulnerable to economic and climate change shocks, and over the last 15 years, it's experienced a period of high budget deficits and low economic growth. As a result, there were 4 public debt restructuring in the course of 15 years. For the last few years, this has been changing. The government has been actively addressing the problem, and the report is aimed to help the government to continue this progress. The report looks at the key macro fiscal issues which the country is facing, delves more deeply into issues related to public investment management, public sector wage bill and expenditures on the sectors like health, education, and expenditures related to climate change. The report finds that budget credibility remains an issue in the country despite the progress made. There is a need for additional measures. There is a need to make public investment management more efficient, to address the challenges related to public sector wage bill, which remains fairly high. In the education sector, we found that while the expenditures have been increasing, the outcomes have stagnated, and therefore there is a need to increase efficiency of these expenditures. And in the health sector, the situation is somewhat better, but there is still need to undertake reforms of health sector governance, financing, and also develop the strategies which would allow the country to retain health sector workers in the country. Certainly, the report provides detailed recommendations on all areas which we identified as challenging. For example, it suggests that Belize should move to a more rules-based fiscal policy. At the same time, the government should get more flexibility and more tools to manage external shocks. the government needs a reserve fund for these purposes. We also recommend that the government improves efficiency in public investments, which is critical, and also the report goes into detail on recommending various measures for improving efficiency of health and education expenditures and for reprioritization of climate change expenditures to meet the country's main needs.
Speaking on behalf of the World Bank in representation of Belize was Federico Bertrand. He says Belize is a vulnerable country but has vast potential.
The public expenditure review is just another example of the trusted partnership between the World Bank and the government of Belize in the development of the country. It exemplifies the work that we're doing together to further the best interests of the people of Belize. We are currently in the process of preparing a new framework for engagement between the Belize and the World Bank. So that would be a 5-year plan about where we will work together in furthering the development of the country. Currently, we have projects in agriculture, energy resilience, and health. And we are in the process of preparing a couple projects. One we call the Blue Cities, which is focused on blue economy and water and sanitation. And we're also preparing a renewable energy project that actually will be approved pretty soon, I think in the next couple months. We are also in discussions with the government on disaster risk preparedness. As you know, Belize is one of the most climate vulnerable countries in the world, so we think that's a very important aspect of the development. And we are also talking about engaging in a project of climate resilient housing.
Sir, I know that you guys may be excited about all of them, but is there anyone that specifically stands out as maybe innovative techniques being used or changes or improvements in efficiency on twists that may have been tried in other countries that you're doing with Belize this time around?
Well, the advantages of the World Bank is that we're a global organization, so we bring knowledge not just from the region, not just from the Caribbean, not just from Central America, Latin America. We also bring knowledge from every aspect of the world, from East Asia Pacific, South Asia, Africa. A lot of lessons learned that we've applied in every single engagement that we've done here. I think one project that stands out that I think is particularly innovative, particularly in the Caribbean, is the renewable energy project. It's focused on solar and battery storage. And right now, as you may know, Belize gets about 50% of its energy from Mexico, and that's fossil fuel based. And so changing the entire framework of the energy structure of Belize to make Belize energy independent, lower costs for consumers, we think is absolutely crucial.
It is a fact then that Belize has made significant progress in reducing public debt. But in the world, all countries were affected by the COVID pandemic. How did it affect Belize?
Of course, COVID was a major shock, and it delayed the fiscal consolidation, which was already much needed before the pandemic. However, the government handled the shock fairly well and managed to resume fiscal consolidation and to promote higher growth once the pandemic was over.
Confirming Belize's progress was the Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Christopher Coy. He says for years the World Bank has been wanting to do such an exercise, but it was until the Briseni administration took office that the country is benefiting from a productive activity of this magnitude. This highlights real development for the populace of Belize, says Coy.
Many years, many administrations, the World Bank has approached for this review, but this is the first administration that has, with its commitment to transparency and accountability, opened its books for them to have a look at. Of course, when you take a look at the public expenditure review, which is being published online, I believe today, you will also note that there are priority considerations. They specifically look at health expenditures, education expenditures, climate change expenditures, public sector, the wage bill expenditures, and we get good insight from the findings and also the recommendations that they put out in the review.
What are some of those insights that you guys receive from the review, and how can you implement them?
Well, I think some of them are not, well, how I would put it, might not be popular, but they're frank. And what we certainly have noted, and this is consistent with other assessments that have been done, is for example, in the case of education, Belize as a country spends a high percentage of its total public expenditures on education, but we're not getting the results. Consistent with the findings of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, what we're seeing is, notwithstanding the level of expenditures, the relative level of expenditures comparative to other countries in the region, the learning outcomes are certainly subpar, and that in part has to do with the low quality of education that is being given. The teachers play a role in that, and so we have to look at how do we improve the quality of education being provided by improving the quality of teaching that is being given by the teachers. So that is something that comes out very clearly in the review, but also it comes out in the Millennium Challenge Corporation assessment as well. So that's something that we have to look very deeply into. How do we improve, how do we train teachers better, and how do we improve the quality of education in a way that addresses education, especially post-primary education, that meets labor market demands for the country.
Today's report is the end of 4 rounds of consultations with the World Bank and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment. Coming up next, more stores penalized for violations of the new supplies control prices regulations. Stay tuned.
Tell them we stay on track, we stay on track, we stay on track, we stay on track. PUP forward. Tell them we stay on track, we stay on track, we stay on track, we stay on track. Me say we constructing homes, so we stay on the track. We building roads, so we stay on the track. Fix the healthcare, so we stay on the track. Creating jobs, so we stay on the track. On track, PUP carry the country on top. Forward bellies and people don't stop. And this a one time we will never turn back. Cause a PUP keep the people on track. PUP!
We on the right direction. We got to keep it going non-stop. One PUP family, and we going to stay on track.
Me say we moving forward. PUP forward, bellies and up. Get ready, cause we moving. PUP forward. Tell them we stay on track. We stay on track. We stay on track. We stay on track.
Introducing Max, the one to watch. When you want the best content and an enhanced experience. Starting February 27, if you have HBO, you'll have access to Max.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected.
Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect.
With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, pay $28.13 more and get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
We are now walking the streets and visiting your homes. We're glad to hear that you're happy with the development of our beautiful town. Our motto, moving forward, one town, one vision, is a pledge to continue developing and beautifying a Ridgewalk town. On March 6th, stay on track and vote Logic Shepherd for mayor and your 6 PUP councillors.
PUP!
Sylvia Camara, a resident of San Pedro Town, lost his life on Wednesday evening after the boat he was traveling in, along with 7 other persons, capsized at sea. Coast Guard personnel received a distress call at around 2:30 from a sailboat which reported they had rescued 4 persons between Tarpon Creek and English Key. Indications was, however, that 3 others were still lost at sea and were in desperate need of assistance. The Coast Guard launched a search for the remaining 3 and found them at 4 p.m. 2 miles east of Spanish Key near the Turneffe Range of Islands. Commander of the Coast Guard, Rear Admiral Elton Bennett, today shared more about the search and rescue operation.
Persons in the water, persons in distress, somewhere outside of English Key. The way we received the information was from some of the survivors that were rescued from off the vessel that capsized. There was a fishing vessel that was passing by, and they saw the individuals holding on to this vessel that had capsized outside of English Key Channel. They pulled those individuals out of the water, and they called us and informed us that there were still 3 persons missing. We were in the area because we were conducting a cruise ship patrol. We had over 4 cruise ships in harbor yesterday, so we would normally get out there and do safety patrols. So we were able to task one of our units that was out in Belize City Harbor and directed them towards the sail vessel. What we found on board the sailing boat was 4 individuals and 1 lifeless body that was recovered from the surface. The Coast Guard Patrol Commander then made a good decision to grab the assistance of those survivors in order to assist with the search of the 3 that were still missing. We immediately deployed from there and went to the search area and commenced searching. We were able to locate those 3 individuals that were still drifting in the water, and we were able to rescue them. So 8 individuals were on board the vessel. They're all from San Pedro, and the vessel capsized just after coming out of the English Key Channel. Unfortunately, one of the individuals died during that unfortunate accident. One was injured to the point that he had to be taken to KHMH in Belize City. He had suffered some second-degree burns because of the fuel that spilled during the vessel capsize.
Wednesday's successful operation, according to Admiral Bennett, was only possible through a collaborative effort between various stakeholders.
Once we receive information, we'd verify that information and we'd task one of our search and rescue unit to be prepared to move. In this case, we had one that was forward deployed. So we received that information, we immediately deployed and commenced the search effort, the search planning. That search planning includes trying to locate the most probable location of the search object. And that could only be done by calculation, determining first the search area, and then try to establish where the individuals in this case would be drifting towards. And we have to take into consideration the direction of drift, which includes wind calculation and current calculation. So the search planners in the Coast Guard headquarters were very accurate. They were supporting the mission. They were able to come up with a very accurate search area, and that's the reason why we were able to quickly locate those individuals that were drifting out at sea. We called for assistance as well. We had requested an aerial support from the Belize Defense Force, our search and rescue partners, the BDF Air Wing, and they were preparing to fly. At that point, we had already located the 3 individuals out of the water. So it's a huge effort, really. We have to give kudos to all those who supported, guys from the Fisheries Department who made that connection with us and the fisher folks. Guys from the Audubon Society as well who relayed information to us. And very importantly, that fishing vessel that passed by and initially pulled the first 4 individuals out of the water. Had they not done that, one, we would have never known that there were persons in distress out at sea. So working out at sea, you really have to be conscious that what you're doing is important in terms of saving lives.
At this time, an exact reason for the incident has not been determined, as investigations are currently underway by both the Belize Police Department and the Port Authority.
I spoke with the captain yesterday after we brought them in, and he said that his bilge pump, which is a dewatering pump on board the vessel, became faulty during the transit through the channel. And because that dewatering pump was not pumping out water from outside the vessel, and that along with the rough seas that caused water to wash inside the vessel was the reason why the vessel started to take on water and was not pumping out, and then eventually capsized. But it was very rough yesterday. We had winds well up to 25 knots. So these individuals were coming from San Pedro, and they navigated along the reef system, and they looked for that channel in order to come out and then head towards Turnip Islands. After exiting that channel, you were exposed to open sea, and that's where the accident occurred. So a loss of life at sea is classed as a marine casualty. That requires investigation both from the police department and from the Belize Port Authority. The Belize Police Department started their investigation yesterday, immediately after we brought in the survivors. So they started the interviews to speak with the individuals, trying to get a law enforcement understanding of what occurred. And then the Belize Port Authority, who is responsible for the marine casualty investigation, will look at the circumstances surrounding the accident itself to determine what caused the vessel to capsize. If there were mechanical failure, or was it individual failure, human error, or whatever. So there's a parallel investigation that takes place in this regard.
One person tonight remains hospitalized and being treated for injuries received during Wednesday's accident. And the International Monetary Fund is also giving Belize great reviews in its concluding statements following a recent 2024 Article 4 mission to Belize from February 12th to the 22nd. The IMF reports that, quote, Belize's economy has continued to perform well. The report adds that after growing strongly by 17.9% in 2021 and 8.7% in 2022, real GDP is estimated to have continued to grow robustly by 4.5% in 2023, led by the expansion of the tourism, construction, retail and wholesale trade, transport, and business process outsourcing sectors. As a result, real GDP was 16% above pre-pandemic levels in 2023, and the unemployment rate declined from 14% in 2020 to 3.4% in 2023. Public debt, according to the report, also fell from 103% of GDP in 2020 to 66% in 2023, driven by strong nominal GDP growth, a substantial improvement in the primary fiscal balance, and a debt for marine protection swap with the Nature Conservancy, and a discount in Belize's Petrocaribe debt with Venezuela. Moving forward, however, the IMF adds that Belize's fiscal position is projected to remain robust, but debt dynamics have become more difficult. The primary balance is projected to decline from 1.2% of GDP in 2022 to 0.8% in 2023 due to lower non-tax revenues and grants and higher expenditure on goods and services. Going forward, the primary balance is projected to increase to 1% of GDP from 2024 onwards as capital expenditure moderates. However, the overall fiscal deficit is projected to rise from 0.6% of GDP in 2022 to 1.4% in 2023 to 2025 due to higher interest payments on external debt. Public debt is projected to decline more slowly going forward given the projected moderation in growth and still high global interest rates, remaining above 50% of GDP over the next decade. As it relates to policy priorities, the IMF highlights Belize's key policy priorities include reducing public debt to 50%,
Yes, I respectfully think that was an unfortunate move made by the EU without having regard to what was the law already in place. There, again, it's a matter of timing. Their determination was based on
increasing priority spending on logistics, utilities, and energy infrastructure, targeted social programs and crime prevention, financed with additional revenues and expenditure reprioritization, implementing structural reforms to boost growth and make it more inclusive and resilient to natural disasters, and remaining vigilant to financial stability risks. Among the recommendations by the IMF to help improve Belize's economic outlook are increasing revenue by broadening the tax base, raising excise taxes, rebalancing taxes on manufacturing to level the playing field, and strengthening revenue administration. On the expenditure side, the IMF says that reforming the pension plan for public officials, PPPO, could free up resources depending on the depth and timing of the reforms. This includes gradually introducing a contribution rate of 10%, raising the retirement age from 55 to 65, and reducing the replacement rate from 67.5% to 50%. On February 28, 2024, the Supplies Control Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise concluded a third round of establishment inspections for compliance with provisions of the new Supplies Control Prices Regulations was carried out in February 2024. During this period, a total of 35 establishments were issued tickets for violations of the regulations in San Pedro and Burgess Key and Key Cocker, that is, in the Belize district. The Supplies Control Unit noted that it will continue its inspection activities in these two locations and will engage local authorities such as the Belize Police Department, San Pedro Town Council, and Key Cocker Village Council to identify and address violations of the Supplies Control Regulations. The public can report suspected violations to 607-4686. A few weeks ago, the European Union, EU, issued an updated list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, adopted by the European Union's Economic and Financial Affairs Council, ECOFIN, at its meeting on 20 October 2023, removing Belize from the EU Annex I blacklist. In placing Belize on its Annex I list on 17 October 2023, the EU informed Belize that if in the coming months the Global Forum on Tax Transparency and Exchange of Information, GF, received and approved a request by Belize to open a supplementary review of Belize's compliance with the Exchange of Information on Requests, EOIR, standard, then Belize will be removed from the Annex I list. In December of 2023, the government of Belize submitted a request for supplementary review to the GF of the strength of its view that the substantial legislative amendments and other administrative and operational changes which had already been made by Belize effectively remedied the deficiencies identified in the July 2023 peer review report on Belize's compliance with EOIR international standards. On the 7th of February 2024, the GF informed Belize that its request for a supplementary review was successful and that the review will be launched in the first quarter of 2025. With that, we are off the blacklist, and today, Honorable Christopher Koyi, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment, spoke on the achievement.
Yes, I respectfully think that was an unfortunate move made by the EU without having regard to what was the law already in place. There, again, it's a matter of timing. Their determination was based on the state of the law as it was back in March or April of last year. But subsequent to that time, by June, July, we had made a numerous set of amendments to our laws that brought us into clear compliance with the different standards that were being assessed against. So when we got wind of that listing, that adverse listing, the Prime Minister immediately wrote to the EU raising dispute over that listing. Following from that, the EU agreed to, in very short order, for a supplementary review. I think it was in January, and on that basis, we were delisted from that adverse listing as of February 21st, I think. We expect a positive outcome as well on the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force peer review. That was the site visit was conducted in December, and there's ongoing work on it, but we are very optimistic on that end as well.
The Statistical Institute of Belize has published its latest statistics on Belize's monthly consumer price index survey, which shows that for the month of January 2024, Belizean households saw the cost of regularly purchased goods and services rise by 4.3%, with food and restaurant services up, while fuel sees an overall decrease during the month. The trend observed throughout the year 2023 continued into January 2024, with food and non-alcoholic beverages accounting for almost one-half of the overall national inflation for the month. Additionally, higher costs for restaurant services, personal care items, household services, and non-durable household goods, and home rentals continue to contribute notably to the rise in consumer prices. The effect of these increases was partially offset by fuel prices, which remain lower than they were in January of 2023. Across all municipalities, with an inflation rate of 9.3%, more than double the national average, Belmopan recorded the highest rate of inflation for the 6th consecutive month. The municipality with the lowest rate of increase in consumer prices was Dangriga Town at 1.8%. Orange Walk Town recorded an inflation rate of 4.8%, while Corozal recorded inflation rate of 4.9%. Over the one-month period between December 2023 and January 2024, consumer prices increased marginally by 0.2% on average. Prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages were up by 1.6%, reflecting rising costs for fresh vegetables, sugar, and cereal products. The housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels category had a month-over-month inflation rate of 0.2%, reflecting higher LPG prices, while the transport category was down by 1.7% between December 2023 and January 2024, the result of a reduction in motor vehicle fuel prices during the one-month period. Cabinet met on Tuesday and it gave its approval for the Attorney General's Ministry to prepare draft legislation to establish the Millennium Challenge Account, Belize, as a statutory body to serve as the implementation and coordination agency for the Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact with Belize. As part of the government's Plan Belize agenda for the administration of justice, Cabinet gave its approval for a number of measures addressing criminal justice reform to be introduced at the next sitting of the House of Representatives. These include the Criminal Procedure, Plea Discussion and Plea Agreement Bill 2024, the Alternative Sentencing Bill 2024, and the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Bill 2024. The measures are collectively geared towards facilitating a more efficient system for the timely disposal of criminal cases, focusing more on restorative justice and providing offenders who have served their sentence, paid their debt to society, and have not reoffended to reintegrate into society without the stigma of a criminal record inhibiting them for the rest of their lives. Cabinet also gave its approval for the progress and rollout of MyGOB across the government as a part of a 4-year digital transformation plan to achieve a digital Belize. MyGOB will consist of services such as duty leave applications and will allow for continuous onboarding of government to employee services. And in order to facilitate an increase of visitors from the Mexican states of Campeche, Yucatan, Tabasco, Chiapas, and Quintana Roo to Belize by making it easier for them to cross the Belize-Mexico border in Santa Elena, Corozal, Cabinet has approved the removal of border exit taxes, border development fee, conservation fee, and the Belize departure tax for up to 7 days stay in Belize for all persons residing in these Mexican states. Cabinet gave its approval to amend Regulations 32 and 54 of Social Security Benefit Regulations, which addresses spousal entitlement to survivors' benefit and death benefit under the Social Security Scheme, and approved the ratification of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. Cabinet approved the introduction of legislation in the National Assembly for a Finance Belize recognition and exemptions to provide certain benefits and exemptions to Finance Belize Limited, Finance Belize, a non-profit company limited by guarantee without share capital duly formed under the Belize Companies Act, to market and promote Belize as a highly reputable financial services center. Cabinet gave its approval of a national strategy for the International Maritime Organization IMO Instrument Implementation Code 3 Code to permit Belize to further demonstrate its commitment to the IMO and the maritime industry by ensuring the complete implementation of the 3 Code. The IMO 3 Code is a commitment by member states to enhance global maritime safety and protection of the marine environment and assist states in implementing IMO instruments. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, March 1st, here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at ctv3newsbz. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.